and praying to understand the journey. Like it does take time. It may take months, it may take years, like, but when it does happen, like you're so like thankful and like happy, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is so surreal. And my friend's like, what do you think is God? Like,
Yes. So before I go any further, I am going to give you your proper introduction, Samantha. All right, so you guys, Samantha Merrissa is the founder of a clothing brand called 22 Strong, created to empower, encourage, and transform others with the power of affirmations. She is on a mission to remind others that they are enough and can conquer any battle once they believe in themselves. She is from Toronto, Canada, and looking to expand her business across North America. Samantha is passionate about personal development, health, and community, and encouraging others to be the light in their own life. Let us welcome Miss Samantha.
thanks for having me. Oh my gosh. This is
Of course. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone that's joining. And so, Samantha, I'm going to just jump right into it if that's okay. And I'm just going to ask you to share a time where you had to step out on
yeah.
faith. Oh, and before you even jump into that, you guys met at a conference. So if you want to,
Yeah,
we met at a conference last year, right? It was
yeah,
last year. Yeah.
June.
So powerful, so powerful. So if you don't mind, go ahead, jump into sharing your testimony.
Okay, yeah, so definitely thanks for having me. I'm Samantha and I'm from Toronto. So I was very honored when you asked me to talk because I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna talk about? But I guess for me, like I've had like a few situations in my life where I've had to really trust and believe in God. And for me, it was hard because I didn't really have a relationship with God. So it was something that I had to like grow into, and I'm still growing into. But I definitely find like meeting other people and surrounding myself that with people who had like strong relationships with God, that it helped me to like build that relationship. So I would say like the first part of my more recent life was when I lost my sister, and I was like destroyed. I like walked around like smiling and pretending to be happy, but I was like extremely brokenhearted. And losing my sister, I couldn't see like a life after that. Like a lot of times I was like, like I was kind of upset with God, because I'm like, why did this happen? Like I could have helped her, like, I should have been there. I should have called more, or those kind of things. And you never know that the seeds later like show up in your life. So with me and that situation, it's kind of crazy because the loss of my sister is kind of like what got me on this journey. And I had to like the leap of faith. I've taken a few. So one was like when I moved to Vancouver, I just like packed up my stuff and I'm like, I'm leaving. And I went to live with my friend, and I like trusted God in that. I was like, I don't have much money. Like I have a few dollars. I can live. I can go. And it's the same thing. Like when I went to live in Barbados, I just trusted God in that scenario. Like I decided like a month before I'm gonna go move to Barbados, and because I was so miserable in my overall being, like I was smiling, I was happy, but I wasn't happy. Like I was miserable. I was still hurting. I was still like losing my sister. I was still grieving, and I was still didn't know myself, right? And then through that journey, I was able to like meet other people. I like would have to reprogram myself, and then I started reading my Bible a little bit more. I started listening to more Christian music. I started surrounding myself with friends that really had a strong relationship with God. So they taught me like, like how to believe or how to switch my mindset. I have a really good friend that I met her at like the winning weekend that we went to with that storm we had. And like that relationship changed my life. Like we became really good friends, and you know, she like poured into me and like helped me switch up my mind and taught me how to fast, you know. And then also like going through church, I went to different churches, and depends on where I was because I was never somewhere like at one spot. So I just was able to build my relationship, and I'm still building. Like I can't really say like I'm a full on like, you know, like not I'm not. I definitely need work on building my relationship with God, and we all do. So I would say I had actually had some things that I had written down, but I would definitely say like trusting in God in terms of moving is like a big thing, because like things start happening and you're like, oh my gosh. Another time that I would say that I was really tested to trust in God was when I was doing my business plan and I was starting up my business. So my school had an entrepreneurship program, and after you're an alumni, you can apply. So I was like, you know what, let me apply for this. And we did this whole like we had like this whole week, and they taught us every week on what to do, right? So I was like, okay, let me do this. And I did the program. I was doing it on my recruitment business. That's what I was doing because I work in recruitment in my everyday like job, like corporate job.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, they make money, like it's so good, like let me do this. So when I'm doing the business plan, like think I can't write, like like I can't do anything. So I was talking to my friend and I'm like, you know, girl, like I don't think I'm gonna do this competition. Like it's not really making no sense because, you know, the competition is and the deadline is soon, and I don't have like a good business plan for that business. So then after I was like, yeah, like let me not do it. And then after my friend's like, yeah, probably, you know, this doesn't make sense because it was unrealistic. Like it was due like within like the weekend. Like so it was like due within like 4 days. So anyway, so then after I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So my same friends that I met we were talking, and I was like, you know, this is, and the idea just came to me, and I'm like, because I wanted to do something meaningful, and I'm like, you know, like let me just do the brand on like affirmations or mugs or these different stuff. So I didn't have a proper name. I just like came up with a name, and I wrote the business plan within like 4 days. I had to like do it like all day for like go to bed, sleep, wake up. And I just had to trust God. Like I literally had to like trust God. Like I would like sit there and be like, okay, God, like clear my mind, because like, you know, all your insecurities and your doubts are coming. And I never ever been tested like that, like ever. Because like everything was on the line for me, because it was like I wanted to start this business. I didn't have any money. I was working part-time. I was living in Barbados. So it was like I only had a certain amount of money to live. And I was like, okay, let me just do it. The worst they can do is say no.
Right.
So I just wrote. I didn't even have time to read it over. So I just wrote and then I just trusted in God. My boyfriend, he was very helpful, like just like motivating me, and I'd be like talking and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And he was like, why are you still talking? Like, keep writing, you know? And it just kind of gave me that extra push. So then once I submitted it, like I tell you, like I had a minute to submit the thing. Then my computer started to freeze. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, you know? And then right after I used my other computer, I submitted it. Then I got accepted to do my pitch competition. And then like a month later, I was like, you know, I told my boyfriend, I'm like, okay, if I win, then I'm gonna have to leave and go back to Canada to do this competition. So then, yeah, I came second place in like my category. So it was good. So I did win the money that I wanted to start the business. And then after I think it was around May, and I'm like, you know, so I was so excited, whatever. I went back to Barbados, and then I started like thinking, okay, how am I gonna actually implement this? And then that's when I left Barbados again and went to the conferences in June. Because I was like, you know what, like I was telling my friend, I'm like, my spirit is not like uneasy. Like I feel like I need to connect with people. I need to learn. Like, you know, like even though I did the plan, I still wasn't at that confidence level yet. So then when I went to the few conferences, I went to the one in Myron's and I went to Annetta Powell's. I met like a lot of people that like just poured into me, that helped me, that gave me ideas that I connect with like later, you know what I mean? So it was very good. And then after I came back from that, July came and I started selling. Somebody at Myron's conference actually wanted a shirt, and I didn't have the shirts at the time. I only had sample shirts, so I didn't win any money at the time. Like I didn't get it yet, so I was like, okay, well, let me, I was heading to Charlotte to see my friend, and I'm like, okay, let me, message her. Do you know anyone who can make shirts? So I made it for him, and then that's how I kind of started. So then he was my first like customer, and then I went back home and sold to my family. But in all of that, like it was really like believing in God, just taking time to like pray, taking time to like write things down that I wanted, and then like being so scared, and then like having the faith to like, okay, I can do this, like, and then these are like, and the thing is that my affirmations is like what brings me. So like, example, like this one that says everything always works out for me. I got that from from Girl Hold My Hand, and the first time that I think like Stormy did a challenge, and then the first time I got to speak to her, it was like she was like, "Say everything always works out for me," and then from then, like whenever I feel doubtful, like that's what always. So that's kind of like something I use in my prayer, and then I came up with my other sayings as well. But yeah, like that is a big part
Wow,
of my
that's
journey.
major. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so major. It's so beautiful to see how God literally aligned every single step that you took. And even though, unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear that your sister passed, it's birthed so much more. The fact that you didn't allow it to hinder you, but instead you allowed it to fuel you, to be able to encourage others. And can you just give a description a description of what 22 strong means?
Okay. Yeah, so when I came up with the name, I told you my first name was, I had it called SMW Designs. And then my sister's like, that name doesn't sound good. And then I was like, I kept asking God to give me the name because I was like, this name that I have doesn't hit. It doesn't make a significance. It doesn't empower people because, yes, there was something that significantly happened, but like I still wanted to empower people.
Yes.
So how I came up with the name is one day when I was in Barbados, I was listening to DeVito's song. It's called Stand Strong. So I was recording myself working out on the spin bike, and then I started like crying, like utter burst out expressive tears, just crying. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I have like so much work to do, and then I said, okay, my name has to have the word strong in it because of that song, because of how it's impacted me. So then after, I think it was like on September 22nd, I just said, oh, like let me call it 22 strong, because my sister passed away at the age of 22. And then I just quickly went online to see if the domain name was available. It was the .co was, and then I just said, okay, that's going to be the name. And then my friends helped me like come up with the brand, and then I had a mentor too that helped me like get to that point to come up with the brand and the name. And actually, I know I came up with the name, and then I just told her like what it's about, and she was like, wow, that's it. Like,
Yes.
but it was more so like asking God to like, okay, like I wasn't giving up because it didn't give me chills. Like the whole point of the business is to like empower someone to be like, okay, like I could do anything. And I noticed that like a lot of people don't speak life into themselves, and like now I know like the words that we say are so important, and I'm working on that as well. But my friends like really helped me. They're like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. And I'm like, okay, I won't. So yeah, and I'm like always working. Like some days when I go, like I get times where I feel doubtful, and it's like, okay, like I have to like really ask God for help or write things down in my journal. And things that I wrote in my journal on January 1st, like they're already coming and happening now. So it's
Yes.
exciting.
That's so powerful. I love, love, love everything that you're doing. And even with your shirt that you're wearing now, everything always works out. It's literally aligned with the word of God. So you're literally, just motivating and inspiring people with the word of God, because that's literally Romans 8:28, which is one of my favorite scriptures where it says, God says, all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose, who love him, right? And so it's important to know that we can stand on God's truth and know that everything is going to work out, even when it doesn't seem like it will be. But even if it doesn't seem like it is going to,
Yeah.
it will. And so I'm loving everything that you're sharing with us. And I'm really just I'm loving the story behind, you know, your brand and what you're all about, you know, just empowering, inspiring. Yes, stand firm, keep going. Yes, congratulations. Like these comments are lit. Thank you guys for joining. And so, just to jump into the next question, Samantha, quickly for everyone who is joining, thank you guys. And for everyone that'll watch the replay, I just wanted to ask you to share a word of advice for someone who is fearful. They know God is calling them into their next level. They know God is calling them to step out in faith, but they're afraid. What would you say to that person?
Okay, I feel like I actually wrote things down because I wanted to like be prepared. But definitely I noticed like especially over the years that like when God is calling you to something and like you're avoiding it, you can avoid it all you want, but eventually you will come. Like you eventually like you will like at least like have God in your life at some point. So for me, I feel like I was avoiding it for like a good amount of years, you know, and it was something that always would come to me, like even when I go to church and different things that people would say. And what's ironic is not ironic, but what is powerful is like the last place me and my sister ever hung out or saw each other was when I brought her to church. Yeah.
Wow.
So the last time we saw each other was I think January 28th, and then she passed away like February 11th. And she was actually like coming back from my she's coming back from school, and then I was like, oh, let's go to church. And she's like, I don't want to, we're going to spin class. And I'm like, no, let's go. And like, yeah, the last thing we did was we went to church together. So definitely I would say that when God's calling you, like eventually you'll just like get to that. But some tips that I had that I wrote down is like, number one was like watch the words that you say, because everything like does come to light, and like whatever you focus on will grow. So I noticed that like once I slowly started working on changing what I was saying and changing what I wanted, like things like would just happen like within like a week or the next day or like instantly. Like so I was like, oh, like I gotta watch
Yes.
what I'm saying, you know. So I'm working on that, but I tried not to speak negatively. And the best rewards that I've noticed is when you take the risk, and when you trust in God, because it's like you meet other people, you get opportunities, and you really learn about yourself. So like I think getting out of my comfort zone, like away from, you know, your family, your friends, your hometown, you're like have to learn about yourself, and then you really do that with you believing in, like just believing in God, like believing that you could do it, you know. And surround yourself, I think, around people around your age group too that could teach you more about God. It does make a big impact as well because yeah, it does make a big impact as well because like it's because you know when you go to church, like there's more older people, so sometimes like you may have a disconnect. But I found that when I met like other younger women that like had a really strong relationship with God, it like inspired me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know. So that's a good thing. um I would say being open to change and having like a different perspective on your life and when you're growing, because you know you're going to change, your desires are going to change, like things that you probably used to do are going to change, and it's okay. You know, it might be scary at first, but it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to also to like learn how to pray and learn how to believe in God. So I started with like smaller visions, like smaller things to pray for, smaller things to like ask God for. And when it started to happen, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, so it just helped build up my faith slowly, because especially like I was hurt so much, you know, and I had such a big grief. So I had to be like, okay, like there was a reason in this, like this is part of the journey, it's part of the story. So I tried to do something impactful, you know. Keep believing in yourself and writing things down, and praying to understand the journey. Like it does take time. It may take months, it may take years. Like, but when it does happen, like you're so like thankful and like happy, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this is so surreal. And my friend's like, what do you think is God? Like,
Yes.
and start with where you are. So like reading and listening to videos that could help bring you new perspective. So like say you don't have a faith, you don't have any faith, or you're like you want to learn more about it. Like I would like watch interviews, or I listen to like Sarah Jakes or different seminars, like just to get understanding and perspective, and then try to like be mindful of what I'm saying or implementing those things into my life. And then, yeah, last thing I said is work on building a relationship with God and do it scared. And then once you witness like things in your life changing, then like you'll just want to build a stronger relationship. And I just feel like with everything you're doing in life, like I feel like it gives you like a sense of comfort or a sense of security and trust. So that's where I'm at. So that's my tip.
No, yeah, I think those are so amazing. Like that is so powerful, everything that you said, because definitely, yeah, life and death is definitely in the power of the tongue. And so, yes, thank you for sharing that. Proverbs 18 and 21. Yeah, this is so good. So good, Samantha. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because it's important. So much of what you said is so important. Like building a relationship with God empowers you and pushes you and motivates you to really truly take the leap of faith, knowing that he's with you, he'll never leave you, he'll never forsake you, and he goes before you. And so that is just so powerful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And so can you just share with everyone just how your t-shirts are prayer confession?
Oh.
Can you just share with everyone how they can like keep in touch with you, how they can, support your business at 22 Strong, and just everything that you have coming up and going on, and anything else that you want to share before we close out?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see the comments, so
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
no, really?
Yeah. Well, I could type it in here. So the business is called 22. I'll type it. Maybe you could pin it or something. I don't know if you'll see it.
22 Strong.
So I typed it in. So the what? Yeah. So
Oh, there it
my
is.
yeah. So the website is called 22strong.co, and then my business that's what it's called. I have an Instagram page, so to follow me and keep up with me is really on my Instagram page, Samantha Merrissa, and that's Merrissa because people spell it differently. And yeah, so like really what I wanted to say is that the brand was really created to inspire people to, really believe in themselves. The shirts really came from like the concept was like if somebody wore their shirt or they wore something like that, the affirmation, like it would make them feel better. Like so when they look in the mirror, they'll feel stronger about themselves. It's like that daily reminder because maybe there's someone in their circle or maybe they don't have anyone around them to kind of put that affirmation into themselves. So like some days when I'm down and I'm like, I need my shirt today, like like I'll like if I'm like stressed or sad, like I'll put on my shirt, I'll get ready, I'll go outside, and I just walk different, I feel different. And the thing is that like it's more so about spreading a message. Like the message is like to remind people that they're enough and to like help them switch their mindset. And it's really about what's happening in the brain. So like for me, like I had to really like pray and like ask God to like help me like get these negative thoughts out of my head and help me switch my brain. So that's really like what it's stemmed from. And it's about like taking your pain and like transforming, encouraging yourself, like being powerful, like being the better version of yourself, like being that light in your life, and then you can radiate to like other people. So it's like if you wear your shirt, it's really about like you're gonna read it, somebody else is gonna read it, so now you have read it. Now you have that sentence in your head. So the more people that wear it, the more people that spread the message, then it's really about empowering people. So this one I have, like it says everything always works out for me. So like sometimes where I'm stressed or overwhelmed, like I'm like, okay, like everything always works out for me. If I'm like about to go for a job, I'm like, okay, it's gonna work out. Like, or I really say things down with more conviction. Like, oh, these people are hiring me. Like, yeah, I don't know what they thought, but they're hiring me. But that comes with time and strength and stuff. And the other ones I have are like I have some examples here, so I can show you.
Oh yeah, cool.
So this one I have, it says, "Be hungry, stay humble, and always hustle." So it's really about like the times that you feel lazy, you don't want to do something, you want to procrastinate, you don't want to just be yourself. Like, it's about hustling. Like to always remember that, because if you keep going and don't give up, then you'll get the reward. And faith without work, what are you what are you gonna get? And then the one that people love the most too is I'm a queen, I'm royalty, I'm enough. This is the
Yeah.
one I usually always wear, but I wanted to do this one today because I'm like, you know what, based on what we were talking about. And then for the men, I'm a king, royalty, and enough.
That's
So
good. Yes.
yeah, and it's about pouring into the men too, because a lot of men, they have a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and it's like, let's put some, speak some affirmations to everybody. So for me, what I have upcoming, I have some like more vendor events coming up, like in Toronto, and I hopefully want to go to some more conferences and stuff. And I'm more about like networking, but I do try to post more often. And I have some people saying, "Oh, let me know when you're going to another networking event. Like I want to come." So yeah, so I'm kind of encouraging people to like get out there. Like I didn't really want to post my stuff before, but now I know it's encouraging people to like start networking, start meeting other people, get outside
Yeah.
and really just help transform your life, because really when you meet other people, I always, every time I go into a room, I always ask God to like connect me to the people that is going to help me. So like with my I'm like, okay, I need help with branding, I need help with business operation, I need help with finance. Connect me to those people that are going to help me with my business. People I meet, oh yeah, I'm an accountant. Oh yeah, I do branding. Okay, great. Can I have your contact? And
Yeah.
that's just how it starts.
Yes. God is always in the midst. He's always leading us, always guiding us, always directing our path. I believe nothing is coincidental. There's always divine connections, and even us meeting, truly a divine connection, because I feel like
Yeah.
your vision really aligns a lot with my beliefs as well, and just
Mhm.
also being an owner of a faith-based clothing brands. And
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Coco. Coco said wonderful interview, beautiful, two beautiful
Oh,
ladies. Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, divine alignment is so important, for sure, for sure. Yeah, this is definitely how God works, and so, and even, even with the encounters on who you're passing every day, like you're walking down the street wearing your shirt that says everything always works out for me. Someone needed to read that,
Yeah.
that in that particular time, on that particular day, like nothing is by
Yeah.
chance. And so I thank you. I thank you for everything that you're doing, Samantha, and everything that God is getting ready to do in and through your life, because this is only the beginning for you. And I'm so excited to see where he's going to take you next. And so
Yeah. Oh,
thank you, thank you, thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone that has joined. I'll definitely put the details in the caption of, how they can purchase a T-shirt and support your mission. Truly, it's a mission,
I know.
right?
I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh. Because
Yes.
I'm like, wow, this is something. But I wanted it to be bigger than me. And I was like, how can I impact people, like without just talking? Like, I want to physically impact people. So
Yes.
this is the best way
Yeah,
to
it's
do it.
like impacting without having to say a word. It's like your shirt, your attire speaks for itself. And so
Yeah.
it's a blessing. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for commenting. This is so good. God orders our steps, and I agree, nothing is by chance. Absolutely, absolutely. A shirt with a message and a purpose for so many. Yep. So good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you for
Before I go, I'm
having me.
going to tell you guys, just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith, and trust God for the next step. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of Testimonies of Faith. Bye. Bye, Samantha. Thank you.
Bye.